Hey, what's up, fighters? It's Manifest hanging out here. Today, I just wanted to take some time to answer some questions from some fans that came in. And this first one comes from Hannah. And she was asking, what's my most memorable moment as a musician? I've had a lot of different memorable moments. Some of them are embarrassing, some of them are excitement, and some of them are just like scared out of my mind, whether it was I was scared to go on stage and perform at like a big festival or something like that. I don't know what it is about sometimes bigger crowds, or if it's like a bigger event, you kind of play it up in your mind like it's this bigger thing, when really it's all the same, you know what I mean? Whether it's a small crowd, medium crowd, or super huge crowd. And I'll never forget, I was just about to run on stage, I think it was in Tokyo, Japan, to perform that for the first time I toured there, and I was just like, whoa, when I came on stage, because like everybody was just freaking out and singing all the lyrics to all the songs, and it just was a completely different country. I'd never been in there, so I was like probably one of the most surreal moments. So that came from Hannah, and if you do have questions, send them to questions@manifest.net, and those will get forwarded to me. I'll try to answer them all. Another question I get a lot is like, how do you get started in music? And I always say that the key to success is just to try. You know, action fuels success. Just start to write. You know, just start to write songs, start to play music, start to, you know, practice at your craft. You know what I mean? And it's not easy. Like, it's not like I'm about to, you know, the Fighter record's out and I've been writing a little bit, but to really sit down and force yourself in front of your computer or however you write, if it's on a notepad or whatever, just to take that quiet time and sit, shut off everything else, and just work at it and zone out and put the effort in. Lock off like 2 to 3 hours. One thing I've learned a lot this year, I just read that book, The 4-Hour Work Week, and that guy Tim Ferriss, he says, don't multitask. And I'm terrible at that because I always like to do a million things at once, but what I've realized is you just gotta sit down and focus and start to write or start to do that thing. And so I encourage you to just get out there and try. You know what I mean? Like, I was terrible when I started, but it's something you just gotta kind of push through. So I got time for one more question I get a lot is how do you go full-time? A lot of artists want to be full-time in their music and doing it as their actual job and career and like not have any other job. And I don't always get a lot of time to share this, but I used to be an IT guy. I used to be a computer guy working at a job, had my own office, full benefits, making great money, but I wanted to be full-time in music. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That was my dream. But I had to pay bills. I actually lived at home at the time, but eventually I got married and had bills to pay and certain things, and so it's just like, you know, how do you get from, you know, it being a hobby to it being your career? And for me, I didn't just quit my job all of a sudden. I went from 5 days a week to 4 to 3, and that was scary every time, asking my boss to say, hey, can I get the time off, and coming up with an excuse because I want to do music, and they were super supportive. And then once I was 3 days a week, I had to make sure I was performing a lot or I had money coming in from music, and that didn't happen right away because not everybody wanted to hear me perform, not everybody was buying my music, and so I had to slowly build this thing over time. And I remember when I was down to 3 days a week, I asked for a leave of absence to go on a tour, and so I said to my boss, hey, I want to go on this tour, can I leave temporarily? And thank God they were really supportive. So it wasn't just like overnight that it happened. And I can still even remember sending the email to my boss, my resignation letter, when I was like ready to quit. And that took years. Like, it wasn't just like 1 year. I'd been working at this thing because I always tell artists, you know, you want to use that money that you make at your job to pour into your craft, to go to the studio, to get CDs made, to get shirts made, to get your art made, and just to kind of fund your hobby until it's actually making money, because there's nothing more stressful when you want to be creative is to have this financial burden in the back of your mind. You know what I'm saying? And then you want to end up going into debt and all this other stuff. And the Bible says, you know, the borrower is slave to the lender, and it's true. It stresses you out, and it just, don't jump too early, but at the same time, make a plan to jump and just go for it. So as far as getting into music full time, start writing now, start creating, use that money you make, stop going to Starbucks or whatever it is, put that money aside and invest it into your career, and make a plan to go from 5, 4, 3, then peace, and live your dreams. On Manifest, send questions to Manifest. Send questions to questions@manifest.net. and log into manifest.net or on YouTube for more stuff.